What's up guys, Chris here from christhefreelancer.com, and in today's video I'm going to be sharing with you guys a profile for digital nomads on my home city here of Brisbane, Australia. Now I know you might be thinking, where the hell is Brisbane and why would you want to work remotely here? And look, I totally get it, it's not exactly a digital nomad hotspot, but it is a beautiful city and it's where I grew up, so I thought, why not share with you a little bit of what the digital nomad lifestyle would look like in a place like Brisbane, and hopefully I can convince you to come down and visit this beautiful country. So we're going to cover the usual concerns for digital nomads. I'm talking cost of living, where to work, and things to get up to outside of work as well. So without further ado, let's get into the video. This is Brisbane for digital nomads. So to start us off with Brisbane, I want to cover the most common objection I hear from anyone who wants to work remotely in Australia, let alone just the city of Brisbane, and that is the cost of living. Now, of course, Australia is a Western country, so you can expect to pay more Western prices, so you won't get the bargains that you'll find in, developing countries, obviously. But at least from the few months that I've spent living here, as a quote-unquote digital nomad, it hasn't actually cost me as much as you might think. And actually, over the last 28 days that I've been staying here, I've been counting my spending, and here is a quick breakdown of everything that I've spent. So I've spent $736 on accommodation, $439 on groceries, $419 on eating out, $165 on transport, $100 on fitness, $50 on drinking, $59 on coffee, and $58 on other random such things. And that's a total of just over 2,000 Australian dollars, which in US terms is just around 1,500 US dollars. So let's break that down a little bit further and talk about what you can expect to pay for these things here in Brisbane. So first of all, accommodation. I'm here at my Airbnb in the area of Toowong. It's on the west side, just a 10-minute drive from the city center. And as you can see, I got a pretty nice kitchen, nice outdoor area, and I just have to share with one other person who is my host. Honestly, he's hardly here. In fact, he's in Sydney at the moment. He works full-time anyway, so working from home is great. I have the whole place to myself. So yeah. From my perspective, sweet deal. The price I paid for 28 days was 736 AUD, which is roughly 540 US. Like I said though, I think I got a pretty good deal, because if you check Airbnb, just checking for next month, the prices tend to be a little higher than that, say around 800 to 1500 AUD. So I feel like I got a pretty good deal, and that's why I just booked another 28 days starting yesterday. As for finding an apartment outside of Airbnb, I think you might be able to find a sublet on like Facebook, just like you would anywhere else in the world. But personally, I didn't bother checking because Brisbane is not that much of a transient place. People tend to stay here a while. And so when you rent a place, it's usually at least 6 months to a year, and you actually got to make a commitment. Airbnb has come a long way in the last few years. So when I started traveling, there was hardly any Airbnbs in Brisbane. Now there's a bunch. So I think Airbnb for a short-term stay would be your best option. Second category is groceries. I cooked most of my meals here at the Airbnb. It was interesting to go to my local supermarket and compare my sample with other samples that I've taken from around the world. I never really know how expensive groceries are until I take the same sample, convert it all to US dollars, and compare them. And it seems that I'm just going to throw up some numbers on your screen right now. It seems that meat, bread, and eggs are pretty on par with most of the other places I've traveled to, but I noticed that vegetables were definitely more expensive. This is at like a major chain supermarket, by the way. At the markets, you can probably get better prices. So yeah, I have heard that we have comparatively high grocery prices here in Australia. But I think that groceries anywhere in the world can be an affordable option. So I wouldn't let the price of vegetables being a few dollars extra deter you too much. For eating out, there's a few different tiers, obviously. There's cheap restaurants and fast food. There's what's called fast casual, which kind of sits above that. And then there's like proper dining and fine dining, right? So at a minimum, any meal in Australia is probably gonna set you back at least $5. So that's like at a food court or a fast food joint. That is like a bargain meal. But for a standard meal at like a food court or a fast food joint, I'd say more like $10 to $15, especially if you're a guy like me who eats a lot. At a proper restaurant, you're probably looking at a minimum of $15 to say $25 to $30. Obviously, you can go super high end as well, and you pay $40 to $60, I don't know, whatever. I don't really do fine dining, but I'd say most of the time, expect to pay like $10 to $20 per meal if it's just a casual kind of place. To provide a few specific examples, Denise and I went to a place called Han Woo Ri in the city center. It's all you can eat Korean barbecue, and it cost us $35.90 per person. We also went to our favorite ramen restaurant, and a bowl of ramen there costs around $16 to $17, and a nice Japanese beer set me back around $7 to $8. Speaking of alcohol, let's cover that next. The one thing you should know about Australia is that buying from a liquor store is expensive. It's probably the high taxes we have on alcohol, so it's pretty surprising from somebody, even from the US, to come to Australia and look at how much it just costs for a bottle of vodka or a 6-pack of beers. It's pretty expensive comparatively worldwide. As for drinking at like a bar or a nightclub, it's not too bad, especially considering that in Australia we don't have a tipping culture and taxes included in things. So if you see a beer for $5, it's $5. There's no tipping on top of that unless you really want to. I would expect to pay around $5 to $10 for a beer. I'd say wine would be about the same, but I don't really know. I don't drink wine. It might be a little bit more expensive than beer. Unfortunately, I'm not an expert on this because I don't drink that much. I feel like alcohol is a bit of an unnecessary expense, but some people like to drink, and I have a beer every now and then, so that's one thing I'll include. My drink addiction of choice is coffee, and a few people call me out on this, but yes, I do spend a bit on coffee, and I do have a bit of a coffee addiction. I like to drink a bit of coffee, and a small latte in Australia will set you back around $3.50 to $4. You can get a $1 coffee actually from 7-Eleven, or like a $3 one from the supermarket. Most of the time, however, it's pretty much bang on $4 for a small like 8-ounce cappuccino or latte, flat white, all of those coffees. If you want a bigger one, it could be up to, I don't know, $6 or something. The next category is gym and fitness, and I don't usually cover this as a category on these destination reports, but this month I've been a lot more focused on my fitness. So I've been going to a gym called Steps Fitness just down the road, and so I'm just going to cut to me talking more about that at the gym right now. So I'm here at the gym I'm signed up for this month. It's called Steps Fitness, and it's in Toowong. Steps is a chain of 24-hour gyms. It's quite common, these chains of 24-hour gyms in Australia. You've got Jets as well. This is basically what it looks like. Just a small gym. You have a key card and you can access it 24/7, and it's pretty cheap if you make a long-term commitment. Not the best for nomads, so for a month commitment, just 1 month, I'm paying 100 Australian dollars to use it. But yeah, they're fully equipped gyms, everything's working fine, and right now I've got the whole place to myself, which doesn't happen very often. So yeah, you can pretty much find these 24-hour gyms everywhere in major cities in Australia. They're often cheaper than the bigger health clubs because they haven't got group classes and they're not staffed. So if you just need to use the gym, these are perfect, but the pricing's not perfect necessarily for digital nomads. Next up is phone plans, and phone plans have gotten so much better over the last few years. I remember when I left Australia in the beginning, I think like you'd be lucky to get 4 gigabytes of data per month. Now with Vodafone, you can get 25 gigabytes for $20. And this is on a prepaid plan, no commitment. Yeah, you just go to the store, get a SIM card, and you've got 25 gigs for $20. I think that $20 deal is something that just launched. I'm actually paying $40 for that right now. So we'll see next month if I have to recharge that. But $20 or $40, that's still so inexpensive for 25 gigabytes of data. I have no fear of it running out, especially with Wi-Fi at the house. So yeah, phone plans, not big deal. I'd recommend Vodafone. I go with them, and yeah, it's been pretty good so far. Finally, the last category I want to cover is transport, and this is one area in which I'm not really a true nomad because I do have a car here in Brisbane. I've never actually rented a car here in Australia, but it looks like from just researching online that it'll cost you like a minimum of $700 just for the car, and then it's going to cost you another $500 to $800 for insurance. So it looks like you're going to spend $700 to $1,500 Australian dollars to rent a vehicle. Plus you've got to add in fuel expenses, which fluctuates around $1.40 to $1.60 per litre. In American terms, that would be about $3.80 to $5.50 US dollars per gallon. I've heard that's pretty expensive when you compare it to other prices in the world. Parking can also be horrendously expensive, anywhere from $2 an hour for street parking to like $22 an hour if you want to secure park in the city centre during the week. So chances are you're not going to be hiring a car in Brisbane, because honestly, I don't think it's great value for money, especially if you're going to be sticking around the city. So what you're going to be relying on are buses, ferries, and trains. We have a pretty good public transport system here in Brisbane. Each method, buses, ferries, and trains, they all use the same system. So what you do is you buy a Go card and you use this to tap on and off at the beginning and end of your trip. You can combine multiple transport options in any trip, and the pricing is just based on zones. So for a one zone trip, it'll be $2.60 for off-peak and $3.25 for regular. For a two zone, it's going to be $3.17 for off-peak, $3.96 for regular. You can also buy a paper ticket if you don't want to get a card, but you get hit with a higher fee of like $4.70 to $5.70. So definitely worth getting the Go card, and the deposit you pay is apparently refundable as well. All right, we're here at the City Cat terminal. Tommy was just telling me that if you get a Go card when you come to Brisbane, don't forget to hand it back because you can get the $10 deposit back. So don't just throw out the card, it's worth something. That's right?
Yeah.
All right.
Property at transit, mate.
Property at transit. Pretty much all of Brisbane is within zones 1 and 2, but if you want to check out all the zones, check out all the fare information, you just go to the website TransLink, and you can find all the information about the public transport system in Brisbane right there. Alright, so usually this section is called co-working and cafes, but unfortunately in Australia, at least in my experience, we don't really have a work from a cafe kind of culture. So if you don't want to work from home, co-working spaces are probably your best option. Just to run through a bit of a list, first up we've got River City Labs located in Fortitude Valley. This is where I used to work out of when I was based in Brisbane. It's the best value, I'd say, out of any co-working space. It's 220 Australian dollars per month. It has a tech focus. It's a really nice, beautiful space. Internet's good. And if you're familiar with Digital Nomad girl, Louise Croft, she was actually working out of River City Labs earlier in the year. She loved it. So nothing but good things to say about that space. Just a little bit down the road is Whatso. It's also in the valley. It's less techie, more creative vibe from what I can tell. I spent one day working out of there, testing it out earlier in the year, and their hot desk membership is also 220 AUD per month. Slightly closer to the city is the original location of Little Tokyo 2. Hot desks start at 260 AUD per month, but they require a minimum of 6 months commitment. So it's not ideal for digital nomads that just want to stay for a short period of time. But Little Tokyo 2's point of difference is that they're more of like an incubator. They help you to put you in touch with the right people, and they try and work with you to help your business. So that's why they're only going to commit to people that are committed enough to stick around for a while. They also have another location in the city. It's called the Capital, and it's shared in part with the next space on the list, Fishburners. So I tried out Fishburners at the start of the year and I found it very comfortable. It's similar to the vibe of River City Labs, but the price is a little bit more expensive. It's 350 AUD per month for a hot desk. I couldn't actually get clearance to film the main floor of Fishburners, but the space you see on your screen right now is shared between both co-working spaces, and it's one of the more casual spaces in that building. Obviously, there's a bunch more co-working spaces in the city. These ones are just kind of the ones, the main ones right now, but at the end of the year, WeWork are opening up in Brisbane, so there's going to be another big name co-working space in the city. It is a booming tech scene right now in Brisbane. Co-working spaces are opening up left, right, and center, so definitely do your own research, check it out. In terms of cafes, like I said, it seems that unfortunately that cafes are reserved for drinking coffee and having a bit of food. You don't really see people on computers. You do see it occasionally, but they look like they're having a business meeting, or maybe they even work for the cafe. It's not clear that, these people are working from a cafe. They're just freelancers or whatever. So we don't really have that vibe, that culture. But what we do have is public libraries. So I'd recommend going to a library if you want to work at a separate space to home, but you just don't want to pay for a co-working space. We have public libraries all over the city with free Wi-Fi. The Wi-Fi internet is not the best, but I figured out if you use the provided computers, you can get some pretty crazy speeds. Use of those computers, however, is usually limited to an hour and requires a library card. So pretty much a shame after seeing those amazing speeds that it really isn't practical for you to work off that speed all day, especially if you want to use your own computer. So that pretty much covers workspaces. Lots of co-working in the city if that's what you want. Otherwise, I tend to just work from home most days, to be honest. So as you might have noticed, Brisbane is not the most perfectly set up city for digital nomads, but outside of remote working, Brisbane is a very livable, clean, safe, and modern city. Brisbane may be smaller than Sydney or Melbourne, but we have warmer winters and the most sunshine out of any capital city, with a total of 261 days of sun per year. I'm looking out right now off this balcony and I can see beautiful blue skies. It's been rainy for the last 2 days, but now it's cleared up again. Before that, it was pretty much sunny for 2 weeks, and this is the middle of winter. So if you want great weather, definitely, Brisbane is great for that. In terms of lifestyle features, we have everything from good nightlife to great food, lots of bike paths along the river, plenty of public events. The main areas to check out are near the city and along the river. So these are places like South Bank, where you can find a cool little fake beach and like good views of the city. Then you got the Central Business District, which we just call the CBD or the city. This is where you'll find the Queen Street Mall. It's a walking street with plenty of shops and bars. Nice little European feel there. You've got Kangaroo Point, which offers some of the best views of the city, as well as natural rock climbing walls. Anywhere along the river is actually good for an active lifestyle. You can ride your bike on these bike paths that go all along the river, up from here into Wong to New Farm. And if you're into nightlife, Fortitude Valley is the place to go for that. Just to go a little bit deeper on nightlife, if you are looking to go out, it's mainly a choice between Fortitude Valley and the city. If you want to go clubbing and like go out for the music, see like DJs perform, Fortitude Valley is where it's at. Otherwise, if you want more of a chill drink, kind of after work drink vibe, a bit more polished, maybe a bit of an older crowd, definitely check out the CBD. In terms of tourist attractions, Definitely check out Mount Kufa. It's the best view of the city, but otherwise the best tourist attractions are probably just outside the city in places like the nearby Gold Coast or anywhere up and down the coast, to be honest. Honestly, what I hear from travelers is they often skip Brisbane because they're going to places like Fraser Island, they're going to the beaches. Brisbane is actually in a pretty central location for all these cool places you might want to check out, like the Gold Coast, the Sunshine Coast. They're all within a 2 to 3 hour drive of Brisbane. So if you want to go to the beach on the weekends, it's not far to travel. So it's actually not a bad place to base yourself if you want to work from a bigger city and then use the opportunity on your weekends or time off to go check out some of the touristic stuff only a few hours away. So there you have it, guys, my own home city of Brisbane. Like I said, it's not the ideal setup for, remote workers, digital nomads. It's not the cheapest, it's not a digital nomad hotspot by any means, but if you want to live a modern Western lifestyle, good safety, good weather, have an active lifestyle as well, Brisbane, it's a great place to live. And if you have any questions about this city, definitely leave them in the comments below. Be sure to hit like if you enjoyed the video, and subscribe if you're new here. So I want to thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you on the next video.